In this video, we'll balance the net ionic equation for HC2H3O2 plus K2CO3. This is acetic acid and potassium carbonate. Sometimes you'll see the acetic acid written like this here. It's the same thing. This is the way often I'll see it written with net ionic equations. So the first thing with net ionic equations is we balance the molecular equation. I've already done that here. After that, we write the state for each substance. So acetic acid is a weak acid. It'll dissolve, but it won't dissociate. So we're going to write aqueous, but we're going to remember that it's a weak electrolyte. It's a weak acid, and it's not going to dissociate into its ions. A little bit, not very much though. Potassium carbonate, potassium compounds are very soluble, AQ. For the potassium acetate here, this is actually a very soluble compound. So we're going to write AQ. Acetates are quite soluble, as are potassium compounds. Carbon dioxide is a gas, and water, that'll be a liquid. So we have the states for each substance. Now we can split the strong electrolytes into their ions. That'll give us the complete ionic equation. Acetic acid, we said that's a weak acid and it's a weak electrolyte. We're not going to split this apart. Just have two. And I won't write the states. Let's write those at the end. Plus, we said this is soluble. So potassium group 1 on the periodic table is 1 plus. The whole carbonate, 2 minus. Good one to remember. So we have 2 potassium ions, and then we have the carbonate ion. And these are the reactants in our net ionic equation. In the products, we're going to split this potassium acetate apart because it's aqueous. So we'll have 2 of these potassium ions. The whole acetate ion here, that's 1 minus. Also pretty good to remember. 2 potassium ions, just like in the reactants, plus 2 of the acetate ions. And then we don't split gases and liquids apart in net ionic equations, so we keep those together. And this is what we call the complete ionic equation, sometimes called the total ionic equation. Now we can cross out spectator ions. They're on both sides of the complete ionic equation. I see here in the reactants 2 potassium ions. Again, in the products, get rid of that. And that's all I see. Everything else is unique. So this is the net ionic equation for HC2H3O2 plus K2CO3. Let me clean it up. We'll write the states and have the net ionic equation. So this is the balanced net ionic equation for acetic acid plus potassium carbonate. One of the keys to getting this correct is realizing that this is acetic acid. It's a weak electrolyte. So while it will dissolve in water, it won't really split into its ions very much, and we call it aqueous. We don't split it apart. That's it. This is Dr. B, and thanks for watching.